Come all ye bold Americans, and unto me give ear. I'll sing you now a story to give your spirits cheer, concerning a young woman who came from Dutchess town. She rounded up a few hundred men and earned a great renown. On a dismal, dreary night in April 1777, bump, 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 a knock shook awake all in a farmhouse, not far from where now we sit. The knocking stirred from sleep the Luddington children. Sybil, at 16, the oldest, ordered her siblings, "Pull out your stick muskets. Put on your tricorns. Some wolf of a redcoat may be at our door." Mary wondered. "Syb, why do the redcoats want father?" "'Cause he's a colonel and an officer in the Dutchess County militia. He turns farmers into fighters in a minute to follow him, to fight against that tyrant of a king." Becky whispered, "Could be them cowboys. What would they get for taking our father away to the redcoats?" "Yea, they take him to New York and get some 300 pieces of silver for our father. Then they lock him up in the sugar house, a prison that ain't sweet. Now open those shutters, stick those stick guns out, make it look like Colonel Luddington's armed guard." At the door stood Colonel Henry Luddington, armed with his brown bess. Abigail, his wife, called, "Husband, for the love of God, stand back from that door. If there's some rascal of a cowboy knocking, he'll shoot you through." "Abby, well, I know that. Quiet, whilst I call." "What kind of teeth has George Washington?" The soul at the door replied, "His teeth are made of hippopotamus bone. Colonel Luddington, I'm a messenger from Danbury. The lobster-backs have attacked us in Connecticut." Kitch-clunk, creak. Colonel Luddington unlatched the door. A fellow, bedraggled, stained with gunpowder, sweat, and blood, staggered in. Luddington cried, "Come, children, help this man." They settled the messenger by the hearth. He told an awful story. "Bloody Tryon sailed up from Long Island, on the Sound from New York. Hundreds of soldiers, with the merciless Hessians too, marching up the Connecticut Turnpike. Look at 'em the wrong way, and they burnt down your home. They burnt houses from Norwalk to Reading to Ridgefield. And when they got to Danbury, they brought down our supply houses, burning cloth, burning provisions, stealing our gunpowder, and drinking our rum. Colonel Luddington, we need your help, your militia. I'll even ride out to muster 'em up." Archie looked east and cried, "Look there! What an angry red sky! Why, it's Danbury burning." Everyone looked, and though miles away, they saw the flames. When they turned back, they found that messenger asleep. Colonel Luddington wondered aloud, "Who'll I send to round up my men? I can't ride myself if I'm not here. They won't stay. It's April. They'll go back to plant their crops." Archie offered, "I'll ride for the men, Father." "Archie, I'm going to need you here to keep the home fires burning. Now I need someone to ride who no one will suspect." His eyes fell on his willowy 16-year-old daughter, Sybil. Abigail Luddington, the colonel's wife, objected. "Husband, you can't send your daughter out at night. If she gets caught, she'll suffer a fate worse than death." Mary and Becky looked at their big sister and trembled. Colonel Luddington replied, "Mary, Becky, put my old knee breeches and frock on your sister. Take out her braids, pull them back into a queue, put a little soot on her face. She'll be dressed and riding like a man. "Ah," moaned Archie, "shucks, I wanted to ride." Instead, he saddled up Star, the family's chestnut-brown mare. Colonel Luddington helped his daughter into a man's saddle. "Syb, you know where my militiamen live. Pray thee that you don't get caught like that Revered fella did 2 years ago up in Boston. And Godspeed to you, Sybil." Ba-da-dum, 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 ba-da-dum. Off rode our young woman, disguised as a man. Ba-da-dum, 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 ba-da-dum. She clattered down the old horse pond road toward Mahopac. Through the cold and drizzly rainy night, she rode rounding up farmers, blacksmiths, wheelwrights, carpenters, apothecaries, even lawyers. She knocked upon the doors of men with names like John, Samuel, Zachariah, and Ezekiel. Their families cringed and cried, "What? Called out again? What about our farms?" But the wives and mothers dutifully filled the rucksacks with dried meats, flour, and gunpowder. They said farewell and left behind family and farm to fight for freedom. Now a loyalist patrol caught up with Sybil. "Ugh, that's a perfect weather." She feigned being drunk. "Fie upon you, you befuddled, moon-eyed drunk!" And Sybil's ruse worked. They let her ride. Near Mahopac Falls, Sybil knew all there were patriots. Thus she cried out, "Danbury's burning! Muster at Luddington's mill! Danbury's burning! Muster at Luddington's mill!" Again folk came out, left behind family and farm, to fight for liberty, independence. Now when Sybil got near Farmer's Mill, she found a camp. Cattle mooing, men drinking. She knew they were cowboys, stealing from patriots, selling what they got to the King's Army in New York City. They called out, "Come drink this, a toast to His Majesty, King George III. Sybil thought, "A pox upon 'em." And then she thought more and cried out, "There's a pox upon me and me family. Might you have a doctor?" "Begone," they cried. "Free not your pox upon us." And on rode, ba-da-dum, 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 Sybil Luddington. Before dawn, Mrs. Peck near Stormville spied her. She recognized Sybil and cried, "Sybil Luddington, lass, you'll catch a death of cold or worse. Come, have a good cup of tea. It's real Chinese bohea." "Alas, Mrs. Peck, I wish I could. I've got to get to our mill. Father's had me muster up the militia. Danbury's burning." Mrs. Peck said, "Dreadful redcoats. I'll send my son." She did indeed. Reaching at dawn the mill, why, there must have been close to 200 men there gathered, thanks to Sybil Luddington. When they saw her, this bedraggled rider, they cheered, "Huzzah for Sybil Luddington!" The men followed Colonel Luddington and caught up with the Connecticut forces now fighting off those redcoats, led by Generals Wooster and Benedict Arnold. In Ridgefield, they fought through cannon balls and bullets. They persevered and pushed bloody Tryon and his redcoats and those Hessians out of Connecticut. A few weeks later, there came another knock at the Luddington farmhouse, near here in Dutchess County. Now there stood a smart-looking officer who gave a graceful bow. "I am Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Hamilton. aid to His Excellency, George Washington, who awaits you, Sybil Ludington, on the Connecticut road." Stunned, Sybil followed the dashing officer, and there on the road she saw His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, Lieutenant General George Washington, who did something no general, no king in Europe would ever do. He climbed down off his high horse and shook the hand of a farm girl. "Thank you," says he, "for the service thou hast given our new nation." And from that day until her dying day, Sybil Ludington always told the true tale of her revered ride. And now, let's all give a huzzah for Sybil Ludington! Huzzah!